Hey everybody, it's Obnoxious Rhinoceros coming to you on a hot summer day in the middle of a pandemic to talk about the cartoons I drew last week. This cartoon is called Punctual Panda. And my original thought for Punctual Panda would be to have a panda superhero that was saving somebody just in the nick of time. But then I was watching an old episode of Mad Men, and one of the characters said that she was late, and that was code for I'm pregnant. And I thought that'd be funnier since they're always having so much trouble getting pandas to breed in captivity, and how much pressure there must be on them to make a baby. And how they always get news. How, like, if a panda does anything, they get to be on the nightly news. My little boy, who's of middle school age, saw this and admitted he didn't get it, which was an opportunity to have a little chat about the birds and the bees. You can see I was going to put some like reeds, some shoots and leaves in the background, but I couldn't get it to work out. And in the end, I liked the simple softness of the soft blue dot in the background. I wanted it to look a bit more like a watercolor than some of the cartoons that I do. This cartoon is called Frantic Fox, and it was requested weeks ago on Instagram. And I knew that, it'd be funnier, I think, to have the background, have some disaster going on and have all the other people being frantic. And in contrast, you'd have the fox being uncharacteristically cool in the middle of all the calamity. I thought about different ways to show a disaster. I thought about maybe, like, I wanted to have an airplane crashing and a volcano erupting and a tsunami wave coming down. But that's a whole lot to draw in a single frame. I thought about a UFO invasion. Maybe like he was in a high-rise building and the UFOs were outside the window. But in the end, I settled for this Godzilla creature type idea, storming through a city, breathing fire on everybody. It took a while to figure out how to get the composition right, because I wanted to be able to show the panic in the crowd, so that the crowd was big enough to see that panic, but then also have enough room to build the context of the creature in the city and get the scale right. So this is, I think, draft 3 of that cartoon. Earlier on, I'd drawn in cartoon flames, but that's just old habit. I draw the cartoons, but when I started drawing cartoons a long time ago, it was all about the outlines, and most of the time I just had them in black and white and rarely colored them. But now that I've got Photoshop to color the cartoons, you can do so much more with just color. And I wanted something like fire. I didn't want that to have black outlines. I just wanted it to actually glow and look like it was burning and producing light. The key to that is to you lay this gradient down, or not a gradient, but I lay down black and bring the opacity down so you can still see through it. And then you take an eraser and erase the darkness, and then you can make it look like things are glowing, like those windows and the fire. Someone on Instagram requested Tired Door, and it made me immediately think of this cartoon I drew, 30 years ago now. I was in middle school, and I was taking an art camp in the summer, and we got to use different materials, and I was experimenting with an ink brush, and I don't know what the inspiration was, but I decided I wanted to draw a yawning awning, just because it was fun to say. And so I drew this building where the carpet out front was the tongue. And this is the first time I can remember drawing a cartoon where I made a grown-up laugh out loud. And I found that very satisfying. That became my motivation moving forward. I saw on Instagram say, "I don't get it." And I told her, I said, "Well, you know what? Sometimes I risk getting too abstract with these." And then I think she got it. I should have a rule about explaining cartoons. If I have to explain it, I haven't done the job right. But on the other hand, they're not all for everybody. This little illustration is called Galloping Cantaloupe, another recommendation from Instagram. And I immediately thought of Monty Python and the Holy Grail when King Arthur never goes around riding a horse. He's just galloping with his feet, and there's a guy behind him, his squire, with two halved coconuts, clapping them together to make the sound of a horse galloping. So I thought like those halved coconuts would make great horse hooves, and they're the same shape as a cantaloupe. So halved cantaloupes would be the horse hooves, and then from there you could build the rest of the shape of a horse out with other fruits and vegetables. It's nice after you do something like Frantic Fox that takes a long time to draw and a long time to color. It's nice to have one that you can draw pretty fast, color pretty fast. This one's called Tiny Negotiator. I think it's really funny, this idea of little kids. Not long ago, I did one called Kiddie Pool, where a kitten's hustling a guy at pool, and to have just the top half of something little and tiny's face showing, but yet they're hustling at pool or driving a hard bargain. I think that's funny. So I get a little mileage out of that gag. I used to play Monopoly a lot as a kid, so I spent a lot of time trying to make sure that this board was accurate. I only made a couple little mistakes. I also like the idea of negotiating with stuff that's not in the Monopoly game. It's not expressly against the rules. But if my little boy tried to negotiate with ice cream, I think I'd take that as an opportunity for us all to have ice cream. Everybody wins. I like with Photoshop and just working with color without outlines, is it makes it easier to create interesting backgrounds. Instead of just like a solid color or white, I can recreate somebody's living room, put a blur on it, and it looks like a depth of field for a camera. Well, those are my cartoons for the week. I appreciate you guys listening in. We'll see you next week on Instagram, and next Sunday, another video with me rambling on about why I like to draw. Thanks for listening.